The Untold Story of Reggie Harding, Underrated Celebrity. Reggie Harding is no hero. In basketball history, he was the first high school student to be drafted by the NBA, and he played in the ABBA. He had so much potential for the game. But his life was more eventful than that statistic. He was well into crime and finessing the judicial system. Here is the untold story of Reggie Harding. Reginald Hazariah Harding was born to a 17-year-old Lily Mae Thomas, who gave him up for adoption to her neighbors, the Hardings. Harding was born on May 4, 1942, and always wanted to play basketball. He was a very tall child, so Bill Irvin mentored him to become a good center player. Harding grew up in brutal, violent, and crime-filled neighborhoods in Detroit, but so did many black basketball players of his time. He attended Eastern High School, Detroit, and won 3 city championships from 1959 to 1961. As a high school student, he wasn't celebrated as much as his sporting skills allowed. In 1960, he raped Florence Ballard, a member of the famous Motown group The Supremes, at knife point outside Greystone Ballroom. The rape occurred at an empty parking lot off Woodward Avenue. This rape happened a year before Florence Ballard and her group members, Diana Ross and Mary Wilson, signed to Motown and had a successful career as the best-selling girl group in Billboard history. The rape is cited as the reason for Ballard's destructive lifestyle and distrust for many in her adult life. It is believed that the state covered the rape to help Harding continue to play. He always carried a gun in his gym bag and struggled with drug addiction. But still, he was a 7-foot teenager who had excellent rebound skills. Detroit considered him the best high school basketball product in the city. The public school league had never seen anyone like him. However, his grades were not encouraging, and he delayed graduation for a year. He played for Nashville Christian Institute when he graduated Eastern High before his high school playing eligibility expired. His lifelong dream to play for Niagara Purple Eagles in college basketball never materialized. Detroit Pistons drafted him in the 1962 NBA drafts as the 29th overall pick with no intentions to enter college due to bad grades. He became the first NBA player to go pro without playing for college. The rule stated that you could sign someone with no intentions of going to college a year after leaving high school. The 20-year-old fit this description, but unfortunately, his move to play for Nashville Christian Institute counted as time spent in high school. Pistons were aware of this and so did not complete the signing until the NBA 1963-64 season. They kept rights to Harding to prevent other teams from laying hands on him. The following year, when Harding signed, he still couldn't play because he was under police investigations. He joined the Pistons roster in January 1964 and started touring with the team. The young player, who commentators and fans picked to beat the best college students, started showing misbehavior. He slept through practice and missed his flight to a game against the Baltimore Bullets, among other things. By August 1965, Harding had assaulted a Detroit policeman while contesting a parking ticket. He was charged with battery and assault. The NBA suspended Harding indefinitely for conduct detrimental to professional basketball in September 1965. A month later, he was found guilty of the assault and battery charges and fined $2,000 by his team, the Pistons. The suspension led to heroin addiction for Harding. Harding threatened to sue the NBA, and they lifted his suspension in 1966. He was signed to Pistons again for $15,000 for 1 year. In 1967, Harding moved on to the Chicago Bulls, but 2 months later, he was suspended for overstaying his leave to attend his adoptive mother's funeral. He moved on to Indiana Pacers of the American Basketball Association, ABA. At the Pacers, he was unnecessarily physical and had multiple fights on and off the pitch. The most memorable on-pitch fight was when he elbowed Denver Nuggets player Byron Beck in the mouth. Harding threatened to shoot the general manager of the Pacers team, Mike Storin, during a live television interview. He also threatened to shoot his teammate and roommate Jimmy Rale once. He was fined multiple times by the team for misconduct and eventually stopped going to practice, so the team had to let him go at the end of the season. Harding was held under arrest on suspicion of an armed robbery at the Detroit General Hospital in 1978. The investigations were not concluded before returning to the hospital with gunshot wounds in both legs for a different criminal activity. The following year, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in southern Michigan prison for concealed weapons. He was released in June 1971 and tried going back to the NBA and ABA, but no team wanted to take the risk and sign him on. In August 1972, Lily Mae Thomas, Harding's birth mother, was shot to death by her husband. The troubled Harding attended the funeral and then explained how he wanted his funeral to be. It might come as a foreshadowing as he got shot 2 weeks later. On September 1, 1972, Carl Scott shot Harding twice in the head while the two argued. Scott managed to escape and never got caught. Harding died the following day at 30 years old.